All right, guys, we are back and we are at the shop again for the first time in about 2 weeks after all the winter weather we've been having. So I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. As usual, we're going to get in here and we're going to talk about 944s and take questions as we go along. And I'll be showing you some of the stuff that we're working on here as well. But happy Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Who are you rooting for? Not even sure I'm going to watch this year, but we'll see. But it's always fun to watch it. But don't know yet. Might be busy today. But we'll give everybody a minute to get in here. It's been about 2 weeks since you guys have seen any of this stuff in here. Yes, we are back. Happy Fox says, back in the shop. Yep. We got snowed out the past 2 weekends, and the roads are starting to clear up. It's still a mess out there, but we're back. J Fusion says, happy Sunday. Well, happy Sunday to you as well. This is our barn find. It's coming along. As you saw 2 weeks ago, we got it started up. We had the owner come down, and you got to see it run for the first time in about, what was it, 27 years-ish? Yeah, somewhere around in there. And since then, we've just been working on the interior, the brakes, odds and ends like that. But it's turning out to be a beautiful car. Put a new fender on here, or a replacement fender. Not new, but replacement. New to him. He's had a little bit of damage there, and it's just easier to replace it than try and get all that out. This one isn't perfect, but he's probably going to get this car painted anyway. It's been sitting for a while, and wouldn't hurt to get a paint job. We got some new rotors on here. Put some new bearings in the hubs. Even though this car was sitting inside the garage or the barn, it wasn't climate controlled, so a lot of stuff rusted up, including the brake calipers. So we are rebuilding those. 30944T says, what's up? Not much. Hope you're having a great Sunday. We are finally back at the shop after having some winter weather the past couple of weeks. And so we're just talking about what we've been working on the past couple of weeks and getting caught up. Yeah, happy Sunday to you. We also have this other barn find over here. We got two other ones here. This one actually ran and drove, so it's technically not a barn find, but we're doing our barn find service to it. This one is, I guess this is banana yellow. Just knock the box over. This is an 83 944. This would not have been an actual Porsche color. The Pasadena yellow and the it slipped my mind, but the other yellow is a little duller than this car here. As you can see, I believe it was originally sapphire blue. Yeah, it's got a lot of little decorative things on this car, but it's when it was painted, it probably looked really good. It's not a bad looking car now. New fuel lines. We didn't have to do anything with the head on this car, but there was a leak right here at the cam housing gasket. Got that changed and stopped the leak there. Put a new cork gasket on there. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not sure why it was repainted, but it looks to be in pretty good shape. Balance shaft belt was way off, so it should drive a lot smoother now. Had the original water pump on here. New sensors, all new vacuum lines, all new hoses, water pump, new belts, rollers. Pool cooler, we updated it to the 6R. New fuel lines in the rear, new fuel lines here. Coolant flush, almost ready. We're going to put a new suspension on here. Probably go with the Coney adjustables. We're going to get the wheels refurbished. It had these little things on there, but we have to take them off to get them refurbished anyway, so I just set them aside. They're just barely glued on there. Yeah, I think I've got it around here. We have stacks and stacks and stacks of water pumps. I try and recycle them, but somewhere around here we still have that original one. Not a bad looking car. The 83, of course, does not have the power steering. There were some 83s that did have power steering. It was optional, but most of them didn't have power steering. Yeah, it's not good to have the original water pump on your car after all this time. Didn't have the belt guide or anything on there that it should have had. Yeah, a lot of people delete the power steering. I kind of like it. I mean, I've never really had any problem with it. We get cars in sometimes that almost always need a new rack, but for the most part, personally, I've never had any problem with the power steering. I think I've changed one of the hoses on my power steering. It was and this is pretty common. It's that hose that runs to the pump there from the reservoir. I believe I changed that one, but that was the only one that was leaking, and I've not had any problem. I still have the original steering rack, still have all the original hoses otherwise, and never had a problem. But we do get a lot of cars in here that need a new rack and odds and ends. But I don't really beat on the power steering either. Yeah, it's kind of worth it to have the power steering though, even though it robs a little bit of power. It's one of those things when it's hot day outside, you know. As long as you keep the wheels moving, a manual rack on the 924s, like the original 924s, was not bad at all. The narrow tires and the narrow body, but you get up to 944 with the wider tires and stuff. Hot day, you know, you got to keep the car moving at all times, even if it's just a mile an hour. It makes it easier to steer, but boy, it'll wear you out. 30 says I rebuilt two, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. No, usually we fix them and we never have any problems with it again. I don't honestly recommend anybody not fixing the power steering, but it's up to them. Um, I don't mind it either way. If they want to put a manual rack on there, then I can see it, but yeah, I've never really had. But I also kind of drive my power steering like I do a manual car. I keep it moving at all times. I don't turn the wheel when the whenever the car isn't moving, and that may be why it lasts a little bit longer. I still have 40-year-old steering rack in there, and it doesn't leak. But who knows? I try and take it easy. I don't try and use it when the cars are not moving just a little bit. Kind of drive it like a manual rack anyway. So JT says, oh, let's go back up. Somebody said, oh, it was Red Overlord said, hi, I just purchased a very rusty 944. Well, I don't know whether to congratulate you or not. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But hopefully it's a good thing. He says, got the gearbox and torque tube off, almost ready to inspect the clutch. Well, awesome. And then JT says, I'm having fun with no spark, ignition pulse, but I also have the, I'm guessing you mean the FTEC 9 products in a 1984. So no spark or ignition pulse. So if you don't have any spark, then let's see. It's 84. All right, so this is 83. It's about the same thing. I'll turn you guys around here. So basically, this is pretty clear cut in these cars. Your spark's going to come from DME, and it's going to be this green wire here. And then that's going to run around, and it goes around the front here, and you're going to see it come out over here. This one doesn't have a cover on it. We'll put a cover on it before it leaves. But you can see that wire over here. So you should have, if you pull the plug off the DME in there, you should see that, yeah, they're very easy to work on, especially the early NAs. But yeah, you should be able to plug this into pin 1 on your DME and make sure that ohms out. And then you're going to know you have continuity there. And as for the black wire here kind of tees around. It also supplies power. It comes from the DME relay, but it also supplies power to the fuel injection and the ISV there. Well, this on this card be a AAV, but all that stuff's tied up, I believe, on 86 off the DME. So one thing I've seen one time, and it's very rare, but I have told people in the past that you want to fuse your coil wire, because I've seen this a few times. What'll happen is over time, corrosion can build up, especially right here at you'll pull the spark plug wires off. You'll see green stuff on top of this is why you got to use that, the gel, the dielectric grease. Don't put it on the actual spark plugs themselves. You don't want it on spark plugs. You just want to put it on the inside of the boot there. It not only makes it easier to remove, but it keeps moisture out of there. And this green stuff, the corrosion will just add up, and it creates a lot of resistance in these wires, and that resistance will feed back to the coil. And if this has happened before you bought the car, then you would never know this, but it starts skipping a little. You'll have a miss. And sometimes it's just a miss, kind of like you put the wrong fuel in the car almost. If you've ever driven a later car and you put the wrong fuel in there, it feels like you're running 87 when you should be running 93. It's just very slight. But over time, it heats up this wire, and rather than damaging anything here, it'll actually damage the back of the fuse box. So if you're not getting, you got an early, well, it doesn't matter if you have an early or late car, and you're not getting spark, I want to say it's on the A plug in the back. Pull it out and see if you got any damage there, because it will melt everything back in there, and that's just not changing your spark plug wires and changing your spark plugs on time. Now, it can take many years to do that, but it's something to always keep an eye out for. So when you're doing this, you want to, with the green wire, of course, that goes back to the DME, but this is going to go back to the DME relay. You want to pin that out. And if you're not getting a connection from the DME, you want to check the back of the fuse board. So, and it could have been caused by something long ago. So hopefully that helps. So that AE4944 car never ran, finally built the engine and other parts, want to start, and it sputters and dies. It has tach bounce. Any ideas what I should check next? So it sounds like you could be getting fuel. I would check the spark and then I would check the fuel. So what we do here is we simply pull the fuel rail here and we put cups, and I'll even put paper towels in those cups so that way it doesn't, there's no reason to see if it's filling up the cup, but you want to make sure that, you know, it's spraying and it looks consistent, you know. To actually check flow and stuff like that, you need to put it on a rig, but for all intents and purposes, you just want to make sure that they all are running. The other thing could be that you can see that these are in very good shape here, but I'm going to guess that a lot of these guys watching this here, their wiring's not looking this good. And over time, just these wires will get hot and break inside this boot here. Come over here. So for instance, you'll have a break in the wire, in both wires actually, and they'll short out. So one way to pin it down is try and unplug one of these, and even if the short's still in one of these three, so if you start with one, even if the short's here, your car may run, it will run rough, but now you've narrowed the short down to being about on this cylinder here. And these two are tied together as well. For the most part, internally they are all tied together, but that's another story. But this is going to get rid of the short here, and you may notice that your car runs now. So your short's going to be here, and if you do these, it's going to be here. So what you'll need to do is then pull the next one by putting this one back and start it up and see if the car now runs better, and then check the wiring in here. It sounds like you could just have something simple like that. Either your injectors aren't firing, they're not firing enough fuel, which could also be related to the DME plug down here, the temp sender, cold start. So we'll get into that later. But for the most part, just check your boots underneath there, because it sounds like you have spark if the car's trying to sputter, but it just sounds like it doesn't get fuel. So JB says, I put a Focus 9 DME relay in so I can hear the fuel pump prime when it's on in the on position. Okay, so he was responding to another comment where someone was asking if it could be the fuel pump. What would you say is normal ohms for that wire? So when I say ohm it out, you actually want it to ring out. You should have absolutely no resistance between that there and there. So it should read 0. And if you don't have any, if it comes up the I, then that means infinite, and that means there's a broken wire somewhere or something's not plugged in. And if the resistance is like, you know, not coming down to 0, then you could just have some corrosion somewhere, and that just means you need to clean the plugs. So you could need to clean that off. It's very rare. Most of the time, something's unplugged or you got a broken wire, somebody cut it. So, all right. So there you go. Yeah, always start if for both of you guys. You know, start by checking the spark, and then move on to the injectors, because we don't see a lot wrong here with these cars. They're pretty bulletproof. simple wiring, which is always a plus. Yeah, no problem. We also have this barn find here. So this is a 87 944S. So I'm waiting on the new hydraulic lifters now. For the S's, you can still get those new. So we're going to get new ones put in here. The other ones were just, I think he had 4 good ones, and that's not even worth putting them back in there. Just throw them away. Yeah, it's coming along. We got the engine bay cleaned up a little bit. Looks a whole lot nicer than it did. Uh, Head's been rebuilt, all new valve stem seals, lapped the valves. Happy Fox says, any trick you use to improve the little connections inside the plugs behind the old fuse box? How many times do you normally have to do it before every single one is 100%? So at a lot of auto parts stores, I don't know. I haven't seen them in a while, but I know Harbor Freight used to have them as well. They are little tiny metal brushes that can actually fit in those pins, and they'll clean the corrosion out of there. And sometimes once they burn up, so for instance, that one car I was talking about that had the coil burn up due to bad spark plugs, that one we just had to replace the plug. So that was very unfortunate. But yeah, see if you can source those. They're just like any other like bottle cleaner, but they're tiny, and you can just get those down in there and clean them out. JBO944 says, we talked about my 16 valve cover leaking after only 300 miles. Turns out it was due to paint chips inside the gasket groove and not for replacing the old grommets. Lesson learned. Oh, wow. That's very good to know. Well, hopefully we never run into anything like that, but it's good to know if something does happen like that. Did you have that sandblasted and then powder coated? I'm just curious. Oh, okay. He says, Happy Fox says, been there, done that about 11 times, talking about cleaning out the plugs. How do you tighten them up? Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. They do make a D-pin tool, and you would have to D-pin them. It's a barrel-shaped one. Well, not really barrel-shaped, but it's a cylindrical one that you slide in there, and it will push the tabs down. Then you push the wire a little bit into it, and it'll release them, and then you'll just have to tighten them up with pliers. In some cases, and I would honestly say most cases, you're going to have to replace those. Replace those. So when we depen it, we pull it out and snip the wire, put a brand new lead on there, and pop it in there. So there's not really much you can do without pulling it out. The good news is I never have to really do any of that. We pull them out and clean them, and uh, we have had to replace them before. But once we do that, it's not. Once we do it, we have no more issues with it. It's a one-time deal. Says I was afraid you were going to say that. J-Bo says, yes, Aquablast powder coat on top. Oh man. So this one over here, this is the cover for this one, and we're gonna have to do something like that to this. I mean, we've got all the paint chips out of it best we can, but we've got this thing looking so good now. I mean, it's not the best looking car ever, but it looks way better than it did when it came in. And I think that this cover is just going to be a huge letdown when they go to put it back on there. So I'm going to talk to the owner and see if he wants to clean this one up as well. I think that'd be a very good idea. Yeah, it said there's only like 24 in each. Well, hopefully you do all of those. Um, just get the ones that you can see that are spread out. Usually you can, they're like that and they have a little seam in them, and you'll see that they spread out like that. No good way to get in there and tighten them up. Maybe there is, but it seems like when they're inside, they're small too. So like every time you try and push it, it just seems like they open back up again. So I would just focus on the ones that are giving you trouble and just see how that goes. So, guys, got any questions about the S engine? I don't show many of these on the live streams. Um, I've had a few people beg me to do the timing on live stream or just make a video on it, but it's become a very close secret around here about how we do this stuff. Oh yeah, I should have started off with announcements, but I sure didn't. Let me pull up some of these announcements. Don't forget, we got the Helen Meet coming up June 12th through 14th, guys. We've got some people registered, but we usually have more by now. So we'll see. I haven't been pushing it like I usually do, so that's partly my fault. I've been super busy. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're actually going to try and do more drives this year. Uh, there's a lot of guys wanting to have another afternoon drive on Saturday. So we'll look into doing that. It may not be an official part of the event, but you guys can go and have fun. Typically, after we get up in the morning pretty early, we have breakfast, and then we go and have our drive, and we go up to the mountains, and then we have our car show and the whole event and the award ceremony, and then afterwards we get back and we have lunch. And about that time, we're pretty tuckered out. So we either head back to our rooms or we'll go exploring. There's a lot to do in Helen, but if you came for driving, then we're going to have some more drives for you guys. But yeah, be sure to check that out. We also have an event at AMP that's coming up very soon. Hopefully you guys can come out there. I believe, I want to get this right. I don't have my phone on me. I'm using my phone to live stream, so I don't have the dates in front of me. Uh, I think I know them, but I don't want to tell you wrong. So I'm going to possibly get my laptop and then we'll see. So that way I get the dates right. All right. Let's see. Right, my 944's alternator look like that. It's a refurb, but it does have 14.1 volts. Awesome. My alternator after the rebuild has gone back from that to 13.8 because I put the original Bosch regulator in there. It's pushing the amps though. But I believe you have an early alternator as well. So keep in mind that if you have an early car, these are only 90 amps and they'll only put out about 13.8 volts. And then, of course, the later ones are 115 amp. This right here is 115 amp, and they'll put out about 14.1. So there you go. You can put the later ones in there. You just got to make sure that if you have an early car, you got to have the thing that rips. So I don't recommend doing that. The 924S, you have the 6 rib belt already, but it came with it came with the 90 amp originally. I put the 115 amp in mine, and yeah, works great. But you just got to make sure, because the early cars are 5 rib, and then they went to the 6 rib. So you can put the later ones in there, but you've got to monkey around with taking all that stuff off there. So I don't recommend it. But other than that, it'll work fine. So if you want more voltage, whatever, yeah, do the later one, but you got to swap the pulley. I'm from France, and I work as an apprentice on a car in 17. What do you think about French cars? Uh, let's see. My opinion on French cars. Well, we work on German cars here. I spent very little time in France. I've been to France, but don't have a lot of experience with French cars other than riding in the back of them. But the Volto was, I'm going to screw up my French. I haven't spoken in years. But yeah, no, we're fine. Um, the Top Gear segment on the French cars was fine, but they're talking about cars from 50 years ago. But anyway, uh, glad to hear from you. Glad you're joining us. We're just here having fun talking about Porsche 944s, but yeah, I don't really have an opinion on French cars. Never owned one. Max, you got an opinion on French cars? Says I'm 16 and I've got a 944. I'm terrified of doing a clutch job because of complexity. Any examples? Well, oh, you're 16, right?
Yeah, I'm 17 now.
You're 17 now, but you did the clutch when you were 17 or 16?
Yeah.
When did you? Yeah. So, all right, we got a guy here, and he just turned 17.
Yeah, when I did that.
Yeah. So he just did the clutch in his car, and he says it's not that bad. So,
Yeah. As long as you have the plastic ramps and drive them on all 4 wheels,
yeah,
plastic ramps, it's fine.
you like the plastic better?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it on jack stands.
No. I always say do the metal or the plastic, any kind of jack stands. It gets the metal ones I recommended because they get the car a little bit higher.
But they're not
But
as wide as the plastic ones.
Oh, okay.
Plastic ones I think are rated to like.
And people hear this.
Yeah, the plastic ones I think are like 8,000 pounds.
Okay.
So they're rated a lot higher than the metal ones.
Okay. So he recommends the plastic ones, where I've always recommended the steel ones, because the steel ones get you up a little bit higher, but he says these are a little bit wider and they hold a little bit more weight. So it may be, depending on which plastic ones you get, may be a wash. I buy the cheap plastic ones.
Yeah.
I have all the steel ones, but he says get it up on that, and there you go.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I got lucky because nothing was like rusted together.
Let's see. But yeah, hopefully do that. I like the Nardon 928 Resto mod. I think I've seen that, but I didn't pay much attention. I have to look at it again. Yes. Happy Fox says I put my old one on with 14 plus with a freaky regulator. My late alternator puts out a 13.8 spec regulator. I hate to argue, but it depends on the regulator. That's fair enough. I just know that typically, I don't expect very much from the 90 amp alternators. They all seem to be about 13.8. So if yours is 13.8, that's perfectly normal. Jim says jump in there with the clutch and make sure that you have enough time to complete the job without getting in a hurry. Absolutely. And we replace the clutch fork bearings. We replace the clutch fork when necessary. Be sure to lube and grease everything. Might as well go ahead and we always do the rear main seal, and we also always do the pilot bearing, because there's no reason to go back in there and do all that again. Get everything knocked out while you're in there. So be sure to order the bearings, the pilot bearing, and the clutch fork bearings. If you're what is it? The shaft that holds the clutch fork pin is messed up. Just go ahead and plan on putting another one in there because you will feel that it's notchy. And the only thing is that be aware once you get everything set up beautifully and you put the new clutch cylinders in there and you got a new clutch in there, that pedal's going to be soft as butter. It's going to feel so nice. So yeah, get in there, replace every single thing. Just do it all at once. You don't want to miss out on the rear main seal. 6 months later, it's going to leak, and you're right back in there.
Yeah,
So,
it's like 9 bolts in it.
yeah,
Big Oh, and that little PVC pipe's good for pressing it.
yeah. I tried to do that, and I just smacked my finger. I didn't have any luck with it. You're gonna have to show me how you did that. But
I just got like a hammer and I put it on flat and then I hit the back with the hammer.
I didn't have any luck. Oh, you took a hammer and held it with the hammer, and oh,
Yeah.
I tried to hold it with my hand. I was like, how did he do this? Okay, yeah. Hands should not be in the way. So he'd used, what was that, about a
Yeah, it's
six
right there
inch?
on the top.
Oh, was it? Can't be a 6 inch. It's got to be 3, 4 inch. So this is what he put his rear main seal in with.
Yeah, I think so.
It does. I don't think it does. Just get the California warning on it.
Yeah.
But that's a good 4 inches,
Yeah, it's about the
roughly.
exact
Yeah,
same size as the.
yeah. It's the same size as the. So he said to not get your hands in the way and hold it up with a hammer and then tap the hammer. I tried it. I just hit my hand and I was like, I'm done with that.
So yeah, definitely have give yourself more time to hit this lead. Get one of yourself.
Yeah.
I think I hit myself the whole week spread out for about 5 hours.
Is the Tyvek doing anything on the ceiling? Yes, it is covering my insulation. Uh, Great, thanks for the advice. No problem. Says Happy Fox says the early one has 13.8 because they have the original serial number regulator. Nobody needs 14 volts for nothing, but the regulators are good when you have a loss of voltage that makes all the way under the dash. Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, yeah, it's going to depend on the voltage regulator, but typically the early cars have a 13.8 regulator. So I, I'm just saying that I wouldn't go out of my way to go looking for. If you've got something going on, then yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Read rather than at the battery reading what the everything is reading back. You got to think that it runs to the start. The wire runs to the starter, and then it runs up to the battery. So if you're reading the voltage at the battery, you could have a drop to your starter that's pulling something for some reason, and so read the voltage at the actual alternator, and then it's going to be a pain to pull all that off. But a lot of times you'll want to read the voltage right there and just see what's happening. But I mean, if you've got 13.8, you're perfectly fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Hi, Brent. My 84 944 drives perfect, but if I drive at high RPMs, the oil pressure drops and the oil level light comes on, slow down, all back to normal. Oh, okay. That sounds like so when you start it up, do you have 5 bar oil pressure? If you start it up and you have 5 bar oil pressure, and then as it goes down, at idle. So, like, let's say you drive it around a little bit and it goes down to about 3 to 2.5. It sounds like your engine's healthy, but if you're flooring it and you're losing pressure, now it's not uncommon to floor the car and you lose a little bit of oil pressure, but that's usually due to an issue with the OPRV. You'll be about 5 on the highway, and when you floor it or you push the gas down, you'll see it go backwards, which it should never do, but it happens. That's that means you got an OPRV issue. In this case, it sounds like you're flooring it and you're losing something. It sounds like you've got a crank bolt or something loose. And let me show you something that was brought to my attention the other day. This was a car that we took apart a while ago, but it was while I was in Mexico. And the guys came to me and they showed me this. This is where some mechanic at some point had decided that they were going to just impact this on there. Did you see this? So they pulled this off the car a while back, and obviously keyway's here.
Yeah.
The mechanic put it on there and impacted this on. It didn't have any oil pressure because they forgot the washer on the back side that goes against the oil pump. And then they put it there, and then they put this on with a lock and washer. And so he was having oil pressure issues in this car because someone shouldn't have been messing around in there. So it was not only like this and like that, but the washer that actually turns the oil pump was missing. Yeah. You think they were drunk or you? So this car, as you can imagine, had terrible oil pressure issues. And it seems like someone had been in there about 5 times to fix it and never could figure out what it was. So if you're having problems like that, definitely check that your washer's in there and the front crank bolt is torqued all the way down. I had a guy call me not too long ago. Well, I guess it's been about a year now. He called me and said that he was having a very similar thing. And then I said, well, I don't know. I've never really seen that. And then I said, I don't remember if I recommended the front crank bolt, but he called me the next day and said it fell out. So, and it solved his problem. So, let's see. Let's see. Somebody here. Delivery van. All right, we have for my starter car, I managed to M57 swap my dad's old 3.6 with my friend's group, and I'm going to drive it soon on the French road. Oh, awesome. Aiden says, how are you doing? I'm watching while reupholstering my new to me OEM steering wheel for my late car. Well, awesome. Glad you could join us. Happy Fact Fox says, what I mean is that if you have 14 at the battery, you'll usually be at 12 or 13 and a half if you're lucky on these. Well, I see what you're meaning now, especially like at the headlight harness. So, yes, there's voltage drops. It's just old, bad, poor decision making when it came to wiring. That's just the way they did things back then. Uh, what I'll never figure out is that they put relays for the fog lights, but they didn't put relays for the headlights. And they put relays for the window motors, but they didn't put windows for the headlights. So why would you do that? I mean, so yeah, I get what you mean. So by the time it gets through the circuitry, yeah, your best bet to do with these old cars, and this is pretty much what we have to do, is if you're seeing severe voltage drops, then you probably need to install some relays here and there. With the headlights, that's just a must. Um, Especially if you're going to try and run H4s or something. But if you want to go LED, then it's not going to be a problem. But of course, everything's going to work better if you have the proper voltage. I've seen 11 volts at the headlights before, so I definitely get what you mean. Says yes. Okay, idle first. So yeah, it sounds like you just need to tighten up your front crank bolt. I would check that first before going anywhere else. For it to be that severe, it's probably ready to fall out. It says probably an OPRV sat in California 15 years before I restored it apart from high oil pressure is fine. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My 83 944 Berber interior is wearing out. Who do you recommend for new seat covers for a car this old? So I'd really like to have that. This one's a 83, but it does not really have the Berber interior. I really like that. But if you're look, there are places around here, so we've had to do custom interiors. If you don't have like the regular leather stuff, then we just have to send it to an upholsterer and we'll have them make it. Um, but yeah, if we get the fabric and then we send it over there and then they just make new stuff. Um, Top Trash Man says I had mentioned a while back that the power steering pump tensioner screws shear off. I think I found the solution. It seemed to be the little alignment washer was missing. Oh, awesome. Yeah. When those are gone, forget about it. No problem, man. Let's see. I guess that, yeah, if they're gone, then there's nothing. Yeah, you've got to make sure that that's in there. Looking forward to the Helen meet. Need to get signed up this week. Yeah, absolutely need to. Won't be long before it's happening. Um, Goes by very quick. Can't wait to see you guys out there. Right, right. Let's see. Well, thank you guys for all the questions. I'm going to try and look up. Uh, do you have your phone on you? Can you look up? There's going to be a track day event at AMP with it's the women's group, but they are. We got a visitor here today, and I parked in the space. But yeah, can you put in? Do you have TikTok or anything, or do you have their website or something, or their Facebook? Um, yeah, the Hooked On. What's the dates? It's February something, right?
21st, 22nd.
All right. Before I leave here, February 21st and 22nd at AMP. There's going to be a Hooked On Driving event. If you've never even driven a car on a track before, you're welcome to come, get signed up. You can find all the information on Portia and Pearl's driving club by just Googling that. it should come up. It's a woman's driving event, but everybody's welcome to join that. So we're trying to get as many people. I'm going to be out there driving, so don't feel don't feel bad about coming out. We got plenty of spots open. It's limited to 24. It's a 2-day event. There's dinner, um, all sorts of stuff going on. You're going to get swag, and it'll be a lot of fun. But definitely come check that out. We're trying to fill up some of these last spots. And then, of course, we have the Helen Meet June 12th through 14th in Helen, Georgia. You can just look that up by Googling the Helen Meet. You'll find the Facebook page, or you can also go to my website, dress.com, and we have events for 2026 already up. I should have put that one up. But anyway, guys, it's great seeing you. We're going to go check out this car that just arrived, and you'll get to see it next week. But anyway, guys, hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.